Welcome back to NBC Update channel. Today we will learn about the issue of a deeply personal family confrontation that promises to shake the very foundation of the Carver household in Salem. When Lani Price Grant and her devoted husband Eli Grant make their highly anticipated return to their beloved hometown, they expect warm reunions and joyful celebrations with family members they have deeply missed during their time away. However, what awaits them is far more complex and emotionally charged than either of them could have ever imagined. The couple will quickly find themselves thrust into the middle of an escalating family crisis that threatens to permanently damage the relationship between Abe Carver and his wife Paulina Price, forcing Lani to step into the uncomfortable role of mediator and truth-teller in a situation that requires both courage and sensitivity. The heart of the conflict. The tension simmering beneath the surface of the Carver family stems from a decision that has created an unexpected rift between two people who have always shared an unshakable bond. Abe Carver finds himself grappling with profound disappointment and frustration regarding his son Theo Carver's surprising career choice to accept a position at DiMera Enterprises, a company that represents everything Abe has spent his distinguished law enforcement career fighting against. For decades, Abe has stood as a pillar of integrity in Salem, dedicating his life to upholding justice and protecting the community from the corrupt influence of organizations like DiMera, which has been synonymous with criminal activity, manipulation, and moral compromise throughout Salem's history. To see his own son willingly walk through those doors and align himself with such a morally questionable enterprise feels like a personal betrayal that cuts deeper than Abe can adequately express. Paulina's role in the decision. What makes this situation exponentially more painful for Abe is the knowledge that Paulina Price, the woman he loves and has built a life with, played a crucial role in encouraging Theo to follow this path. When Theo found himself at a crossroads, uncertain about which direction his career should take, he sought guidance and wisdom from someone he trusted. Rather than turning to his father, Theo confided in Paulina, opening his heart about his dreams, ambitions, and the opportunity that had been presented to him at DiMera Enterprises. Paulina, in her characteristic style of empowering those around her to make their own choices, encouraged Theo to listen to his heart and pursue whatever path felt right to him, regardless of external pressures or expectations from others. Her advice came from a place of genuine care and respect for Theo's autonomy as an adult capable of making his own decisions. But Abe perceives her involvement as undermining his authority as Theo's father and disregarding his legitimate concerns about the dangerous world his son is entering. The underlying betrayal. Abe cannot shake the feeling that Paulina went behind his back, knowing full well how strongly he felt about Theo staying far away from DiMera Enterprises and everything it represents. In Abe's mind, Paulina's encouragement directly led to Theo accepting the CEO position, a role that places him at the very heart of an organization built on decades of criminal enterprise, corruption, and moral compromise. This perception has created a wall between Abe and Paulina that grows higher and more impenetrable with each passing day, poisoning what was once a relationship characterized by mutual respect, trust, and unwavering support. Abe finds himself replaying conversations in his mind, wondering if Paulina deliberately influenced Theo's decision to spite him, or if she simply failed to understand the gravity of what accepting such a position truly means. The weight of this perceived betrayal sits heavily on Abe's shoulders, and he struggles to look at Paulina without feeling anger and disappointment rising up within him. Lani and Eli's unexpected homecoming. When Lani and Eli arrive back in Salem, they anticipate being greeted by the loving, united family they have always known. Instead, they immediately sense something is terribly wrong between Lani's parents, detecting an uncomfortable tension that hangs in the air like a thick fog during their first family gathering. The warmth and easy affection that typically characterizes interactions between Abe and Paulina has been replaced by cold politeness, carefully chosen words, and an emotional distance that feels completely foreign to their relationship. Lani, who has always admired the strength and partnership her parents displayed throughout her life, feels deeply unsettled by this dramatic shift in their dynamic. As trained law enforcement officers skilled in observation and reading people, both Lani and Eli quickly recognize that this is not a minor disagreement that will blow over in a few days, but rather a fundamental fracture that requires serious intervention before it becomes irreparable. The Confrontation Week. During the week of November 10th through November 14th, tensions reach a boiling point as Lani and Eli witness a major confrontation between Abe and Paulina that lays bare just how deep the wounds have become. The blow-up likely occurs during the highly anticipated gala celebrating the opening of the Dr. Tom Horton Free Clinic, an event meant to honor Salem's medical legacy and bring the community together in celebration. Instead of presenting a united front as Salem's power couple, Abe and Paulina's conflict erupts in a way that makes their marital troubles impossible to ignore. Watching her parents engage in such a painful exchange forces Lani to acknowledge that this situation will not resolve itself without direct intervention, prompting her to make the difficult decision to speak candidly with her father about truths he desperately needs to hear but may not be ready to accept. Lani's courageous intervention. Understanding that sometimes the most loving thing a daughter can do is hold up a mirror to her father's blind spots, Lani approaches Abe for a private conversation that will challenge his perspective on the entire situation. With the perfect combination of respect for her father and unwavering commitment to truth, Lani gently but firmly points out something that Abe has been too caught up in his own hurt feelings to recognize. She asks him a simple but profound question that cuts through all the anger and resentment he has been harboring. Has he stopped to wonder why Theo chose to confide in Paulina about this monumental career decision instead of coming to his own father first? This question hangs in the air between them, forcing Abe to confront an uncomfortable reality he has been avoiding since this entire situation began. The painful truth about control. Lani continues her intervention by speaking a difficult truth that Abe needs to hear. Even though it may sting, Theo must have known that approaching his father about the DiMera opportunity would not result in a genuine conversation about the pros and cons of the position. Instead, Theo anticipated that Abe would immediately move into control mode, attempting to take charge of the decision rather than giving his son the space and respect to make his own choice as an adult. This pattern of behavior is not new, though Abe may not have fully recognized it before. Throughout Theo's life, Abe has understandably been protective, especially given Theo's diagnosis of high-functioning autism and the additional challenges that have sometimes accompanied it. However, what began as appropriate parental protection has gradually evolved into something that inadvertently communicates a lack of faith in Theo's ability to navigate important decisions independently. The contrast in parenting approaches. Lani helps her father understand that Paulina took a fundamentally different approach when Theo came to her seeking guidance. Rather than imposing her own views or attempting to steer Theo toward a particular outcome, Paulina provided what he actually needed at that moment, a safe space to explore his own thoughts and feelings without judgment, pressure, or predetermined conclusions. She listened to his aspirations, acknowledged his capabilities, and ultimately encouraged him to trust his own instincts and follow his heart, whatever direction that might lead. This approach demonstrated respect for Theo as a capable adult who has the right to make his own choices, even if those choices carry risks or lead him down paths others might not choose for him. Paulina's methodology stood in stark contrast to what Theo knew he would encounter from Abe. Loving concern mixed with strong opinions and expectations that would make it nearly impossible for him to pursue the opportunity without feeling like he was disappointing his father. The deeper implications. What Lani is really helping Abe understand is that this situation is not primarily about Paulina's supposed betrayal or even about Theo's specific career choice at DiMera Enterprises. At its core, this crisis reflects a fundamental issue in Abe's relationship with his son. His difficulty in transitioning from being the protective parent of a child who needed significant guidance and support to being the respectful father of an adult son who deserves autonomy and trust. Theo's decision to bypass Abe and seek counsel from Paulina instead speaks volumes about the dynamic that has developed between father and son. One where Theo apparently feels he cannot bring certain topics to Abe without facing attempts to control the outcome rather than receiving genuine support for whatever decision he makes. This realization, once Abe allows himself to truly absorb it, has the potential to fundamentally shift his understanding of where the real problem lies. The path forward. As this conversation unfolds between Lani and Abe, the stage is set for potential healing and growth, not just in Abe's marriage to Paulina, but more importantly in his relationship with Theo. If Abe can move past his initial defensive reactions and truly hear what Lani is trying to tell him, he may come to recognize that Paulina was not working against him, but rather providing Theo with something essential that Abe himself had failed to offer: unconditional support without strings attached. This recognition could open the door for Abe to examine his own patterns and consider how he might need to evolve in his approach to parenting an adult son. Perhaps most significantly, It could help him understand that respecting Theo's autonomy and supporting his right to make his own choices, even choices Abe disagrees with, does not mean abandoning his role as a father or failing to protect his son from potential harm. The role of Lani and Eli. Both Lani and Eli recognize that they may need to set aside their detective badges and embrace a different kind of mission during their time back in Salem, serving as relationship counselors and mediators for a family in crisis. Their unique position as outsiders who have been away from the daily dynamics of Salem life gives them a valuable perspective that allows them to see the situation more clearly than those who are caught up in the middle of it. Additionally, Lani's dual connection as both Abe's daughter and someone who understands Paulina's perspective gives her credibility with both parties. The couple appears ready to invest their time and emotional energy into helping bridge the gap between Abe and Paulina, understanding that resolving this conflict is essential not just for the happiness of Lani's parents, but for the overall health and unity of the entire Carver family moving forward. Questions for the future. As this storyline continues to develop, viewers are left wondering about several crucial questions that will determine the ultimate outcome of this family crisis. Will Abe be able to set aside his pride and truly hear the wisdom in Lani's words, or will his stubbornness and sense of betrayal prevent him from seeing the situation clearly? Can he find a way to repair his relationship with Paulina by acknowledging that her intentions were not malicious, but rather came from a place of respect for Theo's autonomy? Most importantly, will Abe take steps to rebuild trust with Theo by demonstrating that he can support his son's choices, even when they differ dramatically from what he would have chosen for him? The answers to these questions will shape not only the immediate resolution of this conflict, but also the long-term dynamics of the Carver family relationships. What remains clear is that Lani's courageous decision to speak uncomfortable truths to her father may prove to be exactly the catalyst needed to begin genuine healing and transformation within this beloved Salem family.